This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
Morning all.
Okie dokie. Do you know that I was on a ladder at 6:22 this morning?
Were you filming a Benny Hill sketch?
I was, I'll tell you what I was doing. Have a guess, Al. You're a man about the house.
I'm going to guess that you've become a method comedian and you were working out how many comedians does it take to change a light bulb.
Whoa, good one. I'll tell you what, I had the smoke alarm thing was beeping.
Oh.
And they are the most difficult, uncompromising things to deal with, to get off, to get the batteries out. I thought maybe if I pressed this button, because I was worried it was going to wake the rest of the family up, so I thought if I press the button maybe it'll stop. I pressed the button and the whole alarm went off completely.
Frank, they're a cruel mistress.
Oh man, and I always have that moment when I'm not sure if that first one I heard was the beep of the smoke alarm or my trainer stobbing against the linoleum. You know, that So I was up a ladder doing that, I really hate those things. I mean,
ladders.
I don't want people who've had their house burned down texting in and saying, yeah, well, mate, it's better to have the beeping. But, there must be a nice,
we don't want to hear from
one.
Elizabeth in Windsor.
No, exactly. Keeping a low profile, I think, as the Hunchback of Notre Dame used to say.
Frank, we've heard from Hennes from Gravesend. Are you familiar with his work?
No.
Quite a regular correspondent.
I know, but I am an old man commander. That's one for the Stingray fans.
Al, do you want to share Hennes' insights?
No, I can't see it.
Oh, I'm sorry. He says, morning, Frank and the gang. Whatever happened to news footage of suited business people rushing around the London Stock Exchange whenever there was a big financial story? Warmest regards, Hennes from Gravesend.
Yeah, well, I suppose there's one obvious answer to that, is that there's a national lockdown.
I think I know what Hennes means, though. I feel whenever I see that archive footage, it's always people in red braces with big 80s phones.
Stripy ties. And not stripy ties, those stripy shirts but with a white collar.
They had weird clothes, didn't they?
It's like no one's done any recent footage. I think is perhaps Hennes' point.
Do you think it is really like that? It's people shouting and shoving each other out the way, and they've got wild hair and braces. And
there's a way to find out.
To be.
I was invited there once, invited to the floor of the Stock Exchange. But
how do you get invited, dear Frank? Please come and see us. Love the city.
Yeah, just come and share the experience of the floor of the Stock Exchange. But I didn't fancy it.
No?
I thought it'd be full of terrible people, if I'm going to be completely honest. I may have been wrong. You know, we all have our bias. But I thought they were just getting me there as some sort of working class hostage. Any road up. What you can't see, Al, is that I've had my hair cut.
Oh, well done.
And what do you think, Em? It looks quite nice, doesn't it?
Absolute stone cold fox.
Well, I'll tell you something. It's what I'm calling my Songs of Praise haircut.
Aha.
Because I did Songs of Praise
I've been
recording.
told about this.
You've been told about it?
Yeah, somebody sent me a message saying, here's Sean Fletcher talking about Frank, and you should talk about it on the radio.
Wow. God, it's like having Marvin Gaye on the show. Is it out there then already? Oh, well, so I did. They said we do Songs of Praise, and I said, can I get a haircut? So they didn't use scissors or anything. They just put their hands on me and asked me what I wanted, and it just happened. Faith haircut. Haircut. It was a very moving moment. But it was just there. No hair, none of the excess hair was there.
Did they sprinkle the water on you as well? Oh.
Well, I think they use eau de cologne.
Oh, do they?
Okay. Isn't it odd, eau de cologne? I wouldn't, if you said to me, what's the best place in the country for nice smells, I wouldn't say, probably cologne would be my first port of call.
Water of cologne.
Actually, that's just given me a thought. I'll come back with it after this. Let me write.
You do that.
I'll write it down. You know what it's like.
Yeah.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
We were talking about eau de cologne. I don't think it's by Lanthric.
You all right?
Yeah, I tell you what.
He likes saying that because, although, you know, when they do those ads, was it Tweed? Tweed by Lanthric.
Yeah.
What a horrible name for a perfume.
I know the two, Tweed and Lanthric, don't really go together, do they?
Yeah, I love smelling like a groundskeeper.
Gamekeeper is good.
It's gamekeeper.
Yeah, that's the word. I see how we help each other, isn't it?
You do.
Isn't it lovely?
You did.
Oh, it's like last of the summer wine. So, I was thinking that, while we had that conversation, you know, I was moaning about smoke alarms, that the perfume industry employs these people they call noses.
Oh,
I've
yes.
met a nose.
Have you met a nose?
Yes, in
I
grass.
have a friend who was a nurse.
Really?
Yeah.
We all know noses.
I've never met a nose. I should explain, for those who don't know, that these are people with particularly sensitive smell glands or whatever it is that does the smelling on a human being. And that you can let them smell a perfume. Like the producer today, Sarah, who's, you know I am a big fan of, but today she does, if Elizabeth Taylor arrived today, alive, I mean, that's what she would smell. So the room is full of what is it, Sarah?
Jimmy Choo.
Of Jimmy Choo. Honestly, I've got it on my chest. Let's put it that way. Anyway, if I got one of those old retired noses and offered them my spare room, I wouldn't need smoke alarms anymore,
Oh, yeah.
because the nose would get any whiff of smoke early on and wouldn't beep, just come and knock on the door and say, Madame, Monsieur, I think there's some sort of fire. And we'd be okay. So if there's any homeless noses listening,
You'd like to employ them?
I imagine they're paid quite well, are they, noses?
They are
I should
paid
think so.
an absolute fortune. I met the Louis Vuitton nose.
Okay.
And
Male or female?
male.
Okay.
I'd say late 60s. Impressive character.
That long ago?
Yeah. How dare you?
I bet they're worried about COVID, aren't they?
I should think so.
God, that talk about people's businesses going down. If a nose gets it and can't smell for 12 months.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, I've got to say, perfume adverts, the world has moved in all sorts of interesting directions in recent years, but perfume adverts have stayed exactly the same. A world where irony has to wait outside on the car park. So people can say, and it's all very all right.
What about when they had Brad Pitt for Chanel No. 5? He said, Chanel, inevitable.
Oh, man.
Come on, is it? Is it though, Brad? Is it inevitable?
It is once he'd had the call from his agent with the fee.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. You can put money on that. So, so I did Songs of Praise, and
How lovely.
it goes out in April. I didn't sing on it, can I say? Harry Seacombe's not on it anymore.
See?
Shocked.
Breaking news.
See?
Yeah. No, it's hosted by friend of the show, in brackets, Catherine Jenkins.
Oh.
But I didn't meet her. But it was lovely. I got Sean Fletcher interviewed me, who's a very, very lovely gentleman.
Lovely.
And what was nice for me is that my dad wouldn't let us watch Songs of Praise when we were children because he used to say it was too Protestant. So So they said, we want to interview you. What have you got any ideas for a venue? I said, well, why not? Because they said, what about a church? Songs of Praise, fair enough. And I said, well, why don't you use the church I go to, the Catholic church locally? And then I got a call saying, Songs of Praise said, would you mind if it was a non-Catholic church? And I thought, my dad, who we laughed at, was spot on.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
You told a highly relatable anecdote earlier, Frank, about smoke alarms. I think we've all had that frustration of trying to get a smoke alarm to shut up.
Oh, the sound, because I find I hear it, but not so much in my ears. I feel it in when you're the joint of the jaw. I can feel it in that, like I'm being bullied at school.
Oh, yeah.
Spare
You were
a
the
thought for
bullier, not the bullied.
553. Here's a text message from 553. I spent 12 months trying to resolve beeping smoking alarms in my house. Turns out...
Is he avoiding swearing?
I think so.
These beeping smoking alarms.
He continues, turns out the house had been rewired before we moved in and the electricians had put the old smoke alarms under the floorboards. I mean...
Oh, what?
Silly Billies.
That seems like malice, doesn't it?
Yes, that's like when people are leaving the job used to put like haddock in the door panel of a car. Do you remember that story? I don't know if it ever really happened.
Well, there was always that thing. There was always the urban myth of the revenge story to the ex, was that how you would treat a badly behaved ex was apparently you'd let yourself into their apartment and sew prawns in the hem of the curtains. I'd also heard of baked pedigree chum pie.
Oh, no.
Very specific, isn't it?
I've eaten pedigree chum. It's disgusting.
Okay.
Have you?
I've eaten pedigree chum and whiskers. And I'm not, I'm just trying to remember if they advertise on this channel. I'm sure they're very nutritious and suited to the felines and canines. But I, even though very drunk, found them both disgusting. I actually sat on someone's kitchen floor at a party, and they had a dog and a cat, and I just ate the two bowls. I know, don't do it. It was counterintuitive, I think. There's probably a better term for it. When you think... Oh, yeah, but you'd expect it to be horrible, but I bet when you actually... we've all had that experience in various contexts.
Yes.
But no, it is horrible.
Okay.
Cat food and dog food.
The ones you sampled was...
I felt that one of... Well...
My dog has a tureen, I'm just saying.
He has a tureen?
Yeah, he has tureen.
Doesn't he just go in the garden? It was a latrine-based misunderstanding. Okay, that's for people listening to this thinking, what I don't get that.
Frank, we've had some lovely compliments on your work.
What?
Simon,
retrospectively?
Simon J. Ballard, I don't know if he's related to JG.
Yeah, or Ross.
Just watched or the producer B. Oh, B is the daughter of J.G. Ballard.
Is that right?
Yes.
Do they only use initials in their family? It's to sign a lot of things, and it's a time-saving device.
Frank, I just watched your stunning, Frank.
Yes.
Terence and Me feature. It was so moving, a true fanboy pilgrimage. I actually held my breath when you entered the hallowed quarters of his office. Thank you. Frank, would you care to elaborate?
I will. I mean, I'm being shoved by the producer, but yes, Terence and Mick. And I would say that, I started off doing stand-up and then I went into television and radio, and now I'm mainly doing DVD extras. But I'll explain all in minutes.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Terence and Me is a short film that I made about Terence Dicks, and Terence Dicks was a writer and script editor on Doctor Who for a long time. The whole Pertwee era he was
Wowee.
Some Troughton, some Baker. But brilliant. And I did a sort of a pilgrimage, as they say, and I ended up in his writing room which was brilliant, with his spectacles still on the desk and all that. It was moving. I got to be straight about it. And it's on the box set of Series 8, which features the Master in every story.
Of course it does. You don't have to tell me that.
No, they do these deluxe box sets with loads of extras and incredible sound, and everything's been they're really spectacular. I think they're a sort of for the older fans like me, saying, look, I know you feel the new series is moving away, leaving you in its vapour trail. Have these, and thanks very much for your help.
That's nice.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, yes.
Oh, what about we sometimes have little chatettes off air, and we were talking about
the love between us all.
We were talking about
Actually,
the
it wasn't
theme
as nice as
music.
that. It was the Deer Hunter.
We were talking about the theme music to the Deer Hunter.
Yes, in case you don't know, twang, 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 twang. Twang, twang, twang. Probably the loveliest music anyone's ever played Russian roulette to.
Yeah.
So. I mean, I like the conga for Russian roulette.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Oh, Frank. Where did we get to with that, though? Because we like to continue these off. Oh, you were saying you'd seen it, because we were trying to establish who'd composed it. Frank, you
for
were
me,
closest.
I thought John Williams, the guitar, the sort of friendly-looking guitar player. He was the only real English classical player I knew in my youth. Although I saw Segovia live when he was 80.
Wow.
Anyway, John Williams did the Deer Hunter theme on Top of the Pops, and there was all these girls in miniskirts who had gone there to dance and be discovered. Just sort of swaying a bit to, and trying to put together dances that looked a bit like Russian roulette.
You see, I hated it when they do the slow ones on Top of the Pops. Oh.
Well, John Williams was a bloke, because I think we've all seen this in bands that you might call, particularly I think serious musicians, is they're playing and one of them looks at another band member and just smiles in a sort of, this is what we love, isn't
Frank,
it?
worst thing, guys, I've ever seen girls having to dance to, and men, on Top of the Pops. Hello, John, got a new motor. Alexi Sale.
Very, very staccato. Very staccato. I mean, that's hard on the spinal cord, that one. You could do damage. Yeah, hello, John, got a new... Oh, God. Yeah, I must...
Special guest appearances, used car salesman in the video by...
Oh.
You won't get it. It's quite obscure.
Michael Sheen.
Jonathan Ross's dad.
Jonathan Ross's dad, Michael Sheen. Was it Michael Sheen playing Jonathan Ross's dad, hasn't it? When he just used to be like the sort of thinking man's Mike Yarwood.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
This is still Frank Skinner with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. I've had a letter from Lee Alder from Redditch. Dear Frank and team, it begins, which would be a good... If you were a manager of a football team and you put together a real hodgepodge of players, various qualities, ages, etc., Frank and team would be a good way to describe them as sort of like Frankenstein. So if there's anyone doing that, you can have that. Okay. So so Lee tells us about, the lockdown and all that. So he's tried to learn some new skills, and he's been 3D printing.
I never quite understand that.
No, it's kind of unbelievable.
I don't believe it.
You don't believe it?
No.
Well, I'm going to show you evidence of it in a second. So he started making bobbleheads for friends and family.
Oh, yeah.
What, like...
do you know bobble?
Oh, what? Was it
Bobbleheads is
TFI
like
Friday?
No, not enormous papier-mâché heads for them to wear around the house as if it's forever carnival. No. They are figures where the head slightly bobbles like that.
Oh, yeah.
I've got bobbleheads for friends and family. So
My
I suppose
gran
we're
had
all
a
different.
bobble head. which actually her head went like that all the time. God bless her. But this is a recreation. Who have you got on the bobblehead front, Al?
No, I meant I've got bobbleheads for friends and family. It was a...
Oh, I see.
It was a joke.
Okay, right. So then he said, I then decided who better to create a bobblehead for than you. 8, 12, 15. List of 8,000. Anyway, that's very nice of you, Lee. I know how much you admire and appreciate Doctor Who, so I made a Frank Capaldi-esque Doctor Who version with a special feature, sound. And he sent me that, and it's great.
Can we see it?
It's gone. It's got grey hair, which I don't. He must have took that from the Capaldi.
Well, that's it. You haven't got grey hair,
No.
Frank.
Take that back. But it's. I'm gonna show it you. I'm gonna show it to Emily here. But we'll put a photo up on.
You know, that's absolutely brilliant.
It is, isn't it? It's fab. And
I mean, it's got a slight vibe of Ross Perot about it.
oh wow, I forgot
yeah.
all about Ross Perot. But yeah.
We'll show you a picture, Al.
I'd like that.
I'm glad you said Ross Perot because I was thinking formerly very popular mainstream comedian who fell from grace. Anyway. But you know, we'll put the picture up and the police can do the rest. So,
God's sake, Frank.
and Dove, oh God, I'm being waved at again. How long has the first hour been? Like 2 minutes. It's fled past for us and for the... okay, I forgot to mention I'm not the audio broadcaster of the year.
Oh, don't say you didn't win.
No, I didn't win.
Who
I didn't
won
even
then?
add a thing saying you didn't win. Just nothing. Cast
Sorry for your
aside.
loss.
Who won then?
Clara Ampho won.
Oh,
And
okay.
congratulations to her, but obviously I'm not going to say there wasn't some pain involved that I didn't win. I also resolved, if you remember, is that to announce that I'd been nominated, and then if I didn't win, I just wouldn't mention it. But of course, if the tooth is hurting, you've got to keep shoving your tongue in it. But serious congratulations to Clara Ampho. But I'm sure all the rest of us, you know, you think, oh, I really like the idea. Imagine going on the radio and saying, yeah, actually, I'm the audio broadcaster of the year. Ha ha. And I think also we're having contract talks at the moment, so that could have come in handy.
Frank, honestly.
Are we still on air?
This is a live radio
Sorry,
show.
I thought it was the news. Oh, cool.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website. That was brisk, wasn't it?
Was.
That's like terms and conditions on the end of some adverts that we play. I respect those people. There used to be a jazz phenomenon, circular breathing.
Oh, yes.
Where some sax players and that could just keep playing trumpeters, and you're sort of breathing in through your nose while you're blowing out through your mouth is quite a thing.
Yes.
And there must be some voiceover artists who've learnt that just for terms and conditions.
Oh, yeah, the speed it up.
Oh, yeah. Remember this morning's texting? Does Mike like sport? Does Mike Hollis, the BBC breakfast sports presenter, like sport? Or is he just reading it from the auto cue? Who knows?
A good texting.
I don't know. I mean, he might. He seems a lovely bloke, and he's a joiner-inner, which I like him for. But I've watched some French versions of Laurel and Hardy films, and they didn't used to dub them. What they used to do is they used to film them again, and people would hold massive cue cards with the French written phonetically. And Laurel and Hardy had no idea what they were saying, but they would read. Well, I suppose they had a rough idea. And I'm just wondering if it's a similar phenomenon.
Maybe.
Does Mike like sport? 8, 12, 15. Someone might know him, and he might be a massive, massive sports fan.
He might love it, Frank. Sorry,
I'm not
Al.
saying he
The
doesn't. This is a
Texans.
genuine. I have only warmth for Mike Hollis. I'm just asking. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's a good thing. You don't get too involved in. If you get a sportsman in for an interview, then I'd say, "No, can I have my photo took with you and all that?" You know.
Yeah. One of the other texts that you've already got running is about people. Is it a myth that somebody leaves like fish when they sell a house in the curtains or whatever?
I'll tell you what was
That
another
sort of
one,
stuff.
Al. Do you remember this one? That if you got sacked
Oh,
on your last day, you go back into the office when everyone's gone, and you phone sort of the talking clock in Tokyo. And leave it on for the weekend, so you cost the company a load of money.
Oh,
that was another one, yeah.
Phone
Well,
Tim, as we
577.
used to say.
Pardon?
Phone Tim, as we used to say.
Tim.
Remember Tim?
Wow, I forgot about
My
that.
mother would always say in a very theatrical voice, I don't know, darling, phone Tim.
And there was a fabulous, when you phoned the speaking clock, there was a fabulous juxtaposition of the abstract and the commercial where they'd say, the Time, sponsored by Accurist. And you'd think, wow, Time has got a sponsor.
Don't you find Tim... You had a bit of a sort of Simon Cowell X Factor approach. He'd say, the Time sponsored by Accurist will be... Oh,
Well,
I was on the...
my-
honestly, edge of my seat.
There used to be an extra long beep at the end. Sorry, Al, about this, but we're off now. We're going to be back on. My 8-year-old child is an enormous enthusiast of Siri. He asks Siri... I always forget to ask Siri. He asks Siri all sorts of stuff. And the other day, he sneezed during talking to Siri, and I was waiting to see if Siri would say, bless you, but tragically, he didn't. So if anyone's listening, that'd be a good addition to Siri for the new year.
Yeah.
Al.
We had a text from 577. I found a piece of wet fish hidden inside the side of my kitchen bin when I moved into my house. It had been put there deliberately. I had to take the whole bin apart to find it. Maybe I am a nose. Covered 2 topics there. That's from Linda.
To take the
We
whole
were discussing
bin
noses
apart.
also.
Okay. That happened to me once in an apartment in Paris. It was a Napoleon bin apart. Good night, everyone. I'm leaving now.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, Christoph. I don't know if Christoph is one of our regulars, but I feel like he should be. I like
Okay.
the sound of him. Surely, Christoph says. Christoph implores. Surely you have to discuss the appointment this week of Mr. Boot replacing Mr. Foot as the head of ShoeZone. We've had other correspondents, Al, haven't we?
Oh, many. Callum in South Shields said, I'm sure none of you have ever stepped inside a ShoeZone, but it was announced today their finance boss, Peter Foot, walked away from the role to be replaced by Terry Boot. Nominative determinism for sure, but more interested to know what Emily Dean makes of the store as a whole.
Well,
Your witness.
I'm sure none of you have ever been in there. It's a bit...
I'm sure I have.
Well,
I'm sure you have as well, Al.
For a start off, it's one of the best shop names, I think. There's something about the use of zone on it, which gives it a sort of sci-fi Twilight Zone. And also that thing, a friend could phone you, how you doing, Frank? Oh, I'm in the zone today. Oh, well, you're writing some great gags. No, I'm buying some brown slip-ons. I really like the zone.
that's what
The shoe zone. I hope they advertise it like that.
I think that's what
When you go in the shop, you could go, you are entering the shoe zone. Sorry, Anne.
I'd like the front doors to be like the Close Encounters spacecraft doors when you enter it.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what they should be like, Frank.
Well, I looked up ShoeZone, and because I hadn't been in there, you're quite
You
right.
looked it up.
The only reason I haven't been in there is I got so many free shoes when I was doing television.
More of your
Thanks.
relatable material.
Yeah, exactly. But there's a twist to it that goes that is not so much fun. That I've reached an age where I now have enough shoes to last me. Let's put it that way.
Oh, that's cheery.
Yeah, exactly. So I looked up and I particularly like one of the shopper reviews, which is one of those reviews which it's not derogatory. It's nice, but you know, if you looked at it, it's like I do a poetry podcast, and it's an element of that. There's a sort of an echo underneath the main theme. So this is what the shopper review said. Low prices and the shoes are good quality and comfortable. And then the last bit, and the majority look great. Now, of course, all I want, this is a bloke who's or a woman who's totally into shoes. I really want to see the minority that don't look great in this person's, because I feel that they're giving ShoeZone the benefit of the doubt, but the ones that even they could not include in the blanket praise, those are what I want to see.
The majority look great.
Yeah, if only we could say that of the human race.
If only we could say that of this show. Let's be honest.
Well, you're always very well turned out. Like an upside down cake. Oh, man. Well, we'll be back with more of Mr. Foot in after this.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Our Mark Goodge, we've been talking about ShoeZone this morning, much to my surprise. And Mark Goodge has communicated with us via Twitter to say, I think ShoeZone sounds like one of the discarded ideas for Crystal Maze.
Yeah.
Excellent work, Mark.
It's a great. What was that place you took me to? The Sunglasses Hut or something like that.
Oh, yes, the Sunglass Hut.
Yeah.
And Frank got very obsessed by the fact that it was whether it was Sunglass Hut or sunglasses.
I don't know that sunglass is a phenomenon. The suggestion was that what goes in sunglasses is sunglass. And I don't.
Unsurprisingly, Al, he was the first person who'd ever raised this.
And I wouldn't say it was greeted with an enthusiastic approach to curiosity.
No, Nathan was not impressed.
Now you mention it, sunglass is probably not darkened glass like in sunglasses. Sunglass would be see-through glass in a greenhouse, wouldn't it?
Well, now you've opened up
that's
a whole can of worms, Al. I hadn't thought of that.
I know I'm down the line, but I'm stroking my beard in a sort of a philosophical, thoughtful way here.
I feel that was such a good point. I feel like you're stroking mine as well.
I felt sickened. We were talking about ShoeZone.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We should explain to our readers. Perhaps you gentlemen can take care of the details whilst I attend to my petticoats.
Well, there's been a change at the top at ShoeZone, and
they've gone for a slip-on instead of laces.
Yeah, and I should say, just as a brief summary, we have spoken on the show before about a phenomenon called nominative determinism, which means that your name, some subtle way, influences what you end up doing for a living.
Sarah Blizzard, the weather lady.
Oh, is that? There you go. And Gary Player, the philanderer.
And Barry Chuckle going into light entertainment.
No, I'm not sure they were born. I'm not sure they were born.
I've got a really good one.
Go on.
Mark de Man, the Belgian footballer.
Wow,
that is good.
Never heard of Mark.
Defensive player. Mark de Man.
Well, that's very good.
But you're getting the point.
Yeah.
Loyal
He
readers.
wasn't born yesterday. What is the man tomorrow? It's tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, awful. Okay, so
yesterday is a year.
So ShoeZone, it turns out, was managed by Mr. Foot. Is that right?
Yeah, not
Yeah,
Michael
Peter
Foot, the
Foot,
former Labour leader, but
Peter Foot.
Peter Foot.
What worries me
He was
about...
head of finance.
So it would already have been funny.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
The guy in ShoeZone.
Exactly,
was called
but Peter Foot must have been furious when he was replaced by Mr. Boot.
He was hopping
and
mad.
Then it made the papers because he must have thought he must have been waiting for that to happen when he got the job, being called Foot.
Yeah.
Sorry if you're listening, Footo.
He's actually quoted. He's quoted in the news story saying this was already funny when it was just me.
Oh, did he say that?
No, I just made that up.
I was going to say he sounds a good bloke. I might have him and his wife round for dinner. But would you say the Foots are coming tonight? That would feel very ungrammatical. I'm afraid they'd have to allow me to call them the feet.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Mr. Boot, the new main man.
Well, we haven't said actually what happened. The takeover. Peter Foot left. Quote, open quotes, unexpectedly, close quotes, after 7 months.
I think, to be fair to ShoeZone,
Oh, not a sentence I've ever heard before.
they, like many shops, have been hit by the COVID thing, so it's probably tough at the top and at the bottom, I would have thought, at ShoeZone at the moment.
Strange PR line. But Peter
I'm
Foot...
hoping they'll send me a pair of their less attractive ones as a thank you. Just to see what that constitutes. That's what gets
Big
me.
sort of clumpy executioner shoes. You're hoping
Very uncomfortable.
execution.
Agony, absolute agony, just to go to the bathroom. I'm sure they don't sell. The reviews are excellent for ShoeZone. Come on.
The most unconvincing come on you've ever given.
So
Anyway, Mr. Boot has taken over with immediate effect.
okay, and he came from the company of Master Jewelers. Is that right?
Yeah,
That's
they've
right.
got to be Freemasons.
Yeah, he's been replaced by Jasper Carrot.
Get a jingle on for that quickly.
Very good.
That's worth a jingle, Frank. Come on.
I'll tell you what, I'm slightly worried that Mr. Boo is a bloke. I think with nominative determinism, you have to let it happen. I think if you make it, it's a bit like the Lenny Lottery approach to nominative determinism. It has to just be in the ether. I was looking at his CV, Mr. Boo,
What have you been up to? What are you doing?
and he worked for Brantano, which is a shoe place, and then he worked for Jones Bootmaker. So I think he's been waiting for this story forever. He's changing jobs just to get this story.
Frank, have you been on
started
his
off in
LinkedIn
Monopoly.
page?
Yeah. Yeah. I bet you he wears the Monopoly boot on a chain around his neck. That's the kind of guy we're talking
Oh, that'll
about.
be his medallion.
Yeah. That's what
When
I
journalists when journalists from trade newspapers come to interview him, they'll say, "What do you wear to bed at night?" And you know, like Marilyn Monroe famously said, "Why Chanel No. 5, of course."
think. Yes.
You know what he'll say?
Inevitably.
He'll say, "My little Monopoly boot."
Oh, yeah. See, I'd be all right sleeping in a Monopoly boot, I think, because I never sleep. I never, ever
You'd be all right
sleep.
sleeping on the Central Reservation.
I tell you, well, that's proven. I never sleep on my front. The only time I've ever lay on my front in bed, it's all right, it's going to be okay, breakfast radio, is when I've had an argument. And if I've had an argument with someone in bed, I always lay on my front. I don't know why. It's a sort of there must be some body language thing going on there of wanting to disappear into the world of the mattress.
How do you sleep on your front, Al? I'm taking the fifth on this question.
Side.
Yes, that's the place for sleeping. Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah, I like it. But to me, the slight nominative determinism thing has been impaired by a sort of making it happen kind of thing. I'll tell you what, my son went back to school this week and he polished his shoes. And I was thinking, I haven't polished my shoes probably for 20 years. And that was in a hotel where they just had polish, and I thought I might as well use it to get my money's worth. Do you polish your shoes, Al?
No.
There you go. Died out.
Well, that was a fairly comprehensive survey you took of the population.
Well, I don't think
died out.
I'm going to be honest now, and this does make me sound like 150 years old. I don't even know if women polish their shoes. Is that a thing that women do?
I mean, we've been known. I think it's a whole other conversation, though, about consumerism and how the idea of repairing seems to be dying out. And it's a good thing. We should be polishing shoes. Now people just think, oh, chuck them out, get a new pair. And you know where they go? Down to ShoeZone.
Yeah, okay. Is that right?
Yeah.
Can I say I've become quite pro shoe? And yeah, I don't know that repairing things rather than throwing them away is... Look at Sharon Osbourne.
Oh, God.
Frank Skinner. Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Frank, Annie and Oliver sounds like a lovely sort of gift shop. Cornish
They sound
gift
like-
shop.
I think
That's funny. They sound like a very musical couple to me.
Annie and Oliver. Why? I don't get it.
Tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, two musicals,
Yeah.
of course. Oh, well
It's a
done.
fine joke,
Well,
Al.
I say, sir, well done.
More, sir.
I didn't get the musicals gag, and Muscles did it.
Muscles did it. A lot of exclamation marks in that name.
So what did
Annie and Oliver.
what did Andy and
Annie ampersand Oliver
okay?
says, good morning to you all. Every night we listen to older episodes. Today we are finally listening live. Just to inform you as a woman, I always I think I did the emphasis wrong there. Just to inform you, comma, perhaps, as a woman, comma, I always clean everyone's shoes in the household.
Oh,
Wait
wow.
for it. There's a hyphen coming. At least once a week.
Wow.
Loving being live with you all. Annie and Oliver.
Well, it's a hard not life. I think one has to say that. That is, well, there's lots. A, do they need doing once a week? And B, in the 21st century, come on, Annie. Make them do them themselves.
Goodness me.
Hey, what about that? Do they have a son? Do they have a son?
Annie and Oliver?
Yeah.
No, just the dog.
Okay.
We're going to call him Sandy, is what I believe she said.
This could go on forever. I was suggesting that the son was going to come out tomorrow, and then I lost my nerve that it might be misunderstood.
Frank, have you put some pictures of yourself up on the socials this morning?
No, I'm not on the socials. I
Yes.
know we are officially, but
I'm afraid the producers...
well, I don't have no truck with it.
I'm afraid the producer's nodding, and it appears some images have been released of you, possibly without your consent.
Okay.
What are they?
Matt
Slightly worrying.
Henson has got in touch to say, inquiring as to where Frank got his retro Admiral tracky top from, John Bishop Fun Run, Shane 2 launch, or borrowed from our Keith. That's from Matt Henson. Can I say
Wow.
I actually am very covetous of that top.
Well, but I haven't. Have I been seen on the street in my Admiral tracky top?
The producer, what's happened?
It's the picture with the bobblehead.
Oh, picture of you with a bobblehead.
Oh, I see. Yes. I'm going to say I haven't been pap for about 10 years. The paparazzi shots of me are actually drawings.
Oh, God.
Yeah, there's an engraving of Frank Skinner in the Sun, I see.
A Giotto fresco.
Yeah, at the
of Frank
Harry
Skinner.
Potter premiere.
I like the idea that you have a fresco.
I spent the night in Fresco, and then I went to Tesco. Okay. In every kind of disco, that makes you wonder about so many things. I mean, if you think of the amount of genre of disco, I bet there's one with the word zone in it.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else from
We've
Al Fresco?
had
Well-
all sorts, Al.
There's a lot. 937 has concurred with your comment about referring to Mr. and Mrs. Foot as the feet at your hypothetical dinner party. Has opened up a box of old memories. The pluralisation of proper nouns really gets my goat. He continues, in a former life as a barkeep, I remember becoming repeatedly irked when an innocent customer would order several Guinnesses. Further, as a triathlete, here we go, and veteran of several Ironman competitions, I would find myself wanting to say Iron Men. Even though wanting to say Iron Men has a double entendre entirely unintended. Yes, I see what he's done there. I'm slightly...
I don't get it, but that's a good sign. That means a lot of the audience won't either.
Yes.
I don't see the Guinnesses. So what should he say? I'll have 7 Guinness.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, hey. The trouble is with that, I'd imagine it was some Victorian detective taking his fee. That'll be 7 Guineas, that kind of thing. I did a little explanatory footnote with drama to help people along with that one. I'll tell you something. If you need my hand, take it, and I will lead you forth.
Wash it first, though.
Well, of course. It's got quite a lot of chocolate raisin on it at the moment.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Oh, those offers are going to come rolling in. They're going to come rolling in for terms and conditions work.
Is this what it's come to? T's and C's.
This is what it's come to.
You're dividing your time between that and Doctor Who box set DVD extras.
Exactly.
Al, if he has he's going to set up a Twitter page and say, we'll do T's and C's.
You know, necessity is the mother of invention.
Don't be too proud about how many years living.
Contact Frank Skinner at Waitrose.com.
Exactly.
Hey, we had an email during the week that begins with an apology. Forgive me for a midweek message. I don't think we have any rule on
it.
them.
It didn't wake me up.
Don't apologise for.
We're not like the Monkeys band. You know, we don't live in the same house.
I listened to the podcast. That's why they've sent it midweek rather than on a Saturday. I think is their point. There's a sauce called Frank's Hot Sauce, which is a chili-based sauce that I enjoy greatly. I was imagining what type of sauce it might have been if it was made by Frank Skinner. Would it be a different flavour or type?
Oh, well, that's a tricky one, isn't it? I always think of that bloke. Isn't there only really one proper success story from 95 series of Dragon's Den? And that's the
Levi
guy.
Roots.
And that, what was the name of his stuff?
Levi Roots.
Berry sauce or something like that.
There's only one other success story, is the Tangle Tees man. Mr. Tangle Tees.
Although was that rejected or taken off?
Is he a ladies' hairdresser from the 1960s?
Yes, you've probably seen the product, Frank.
Tangle Tees.
Every woman in this studio will have. Yes, Sarah has one. I have one. Faye has one.
Yep, I've got one.
You've got one.
I've got one in my
What
house.
is it? What is a Tangle Tees?
It's a clever hairbrush.
It's a clever plastic hairbrush. It's very hard to explain. We'll have to show you a visual image. We'll have to show you some visuals. I think that's the only way out. Can you explain?
Does it tangle and tease?
It detangles
Well,
painlessly.
then already it's deceptive in its title.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it tangled, as you would. It should be called Untangle Tees.
Anyway, you were talking.
Time Tees, it could be called. Yeah, what was I talking about?
He was rejected and went on to make
Hot
a fortune.
sauce.
Yeah, what was it called, though? It was called... it's a famous sauce. I've seen it at Lord's, not Lourdes. Reggae sauce, exactly. So that, right. I think, is the big hit. Most people just are sort of humiliated and rejected on the show. Which is why we love it, of course.
Yeah.
You know what? In the old days, it would have been a super hot ski, but I think it would be something quite... The best sauce in the world for me is mint sauce. And I put mint sauce on all the meats.
Frank,
I will not be restricted to lamb.
I would 100% agree with you. It's a
yeah.
wonderful sauce.
It's a great sauce. And the texture,
Oh.
it's like God has allowed us to eat the tea leaves out the bottom of a pot, and it's nice.
It's
Okay.
when you get the tartness. Oh.
I'm worried that there are Sheep Defence League people listening to this who are furious.
Yeah.
But I put it on all the meats. As I say, I'm a Democrat.
Okay.
So that's what I'd have. A sort of a mince sauce, which could be... I've never seen a squeezy mince sauce.
No, it's too classy.
No, I that's what I'm going for. Squeezy mince sauce. Thanks, sorted.
Thanks, sorted.
Yeah, and it's called
speak to your
it's
PA.
called Making a Mint, and it's a picture of me, like you know, as a sort of a Ronnie Rich type figure, top hat and a cigar, and all that's on the left.
Well, I'm
Like the
sorry to
Paul-
tell you, I'm out.
You know, oh.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank,
that.
we showed you an actual tangle teaser earlier, didn't we?
Yes.
Was it your first encounter with one?
Yeah, and I have to say, if I was one of the dragons and somebody had whipped that out, I'd have said, "Don't bother," because to look at, it
Well,
just looks like
I'm
like a
saying
hairbrush.
nothing.
No, but it looks like a hairbrush. I don't know how this person. I don't know who Mr. Tangle Tease is.
It's called Sean.
Okay, well, that
Sean?
nominative determinism. Does it cut hair as well?
No, but can I
good.
tell you
I
what
bet he
this...
didn't like the mint sauce material.
Can I tell you what the key is to the success of the Tangle teaser?
Can I say that, just a reminder, that I like you doing it live, but we have a fabulous trombone sting on the jingles board that I always forget
Come
to
on
use.
then.
Here it comes.
Get it out.
That is a goodie, isn't it?
Do you want to know what the key to the success of the Tangle teaser is? Sean's Tangle teaser.
You betcha.
Patented teeth.
Okay.
The teeth, he's got unique teeth and he's patented them. They've been invented. They are teeth like no other on a hairbrush.
Oh, really? So I'm guessing they
You should get your
slide.
teeth patented.
They slide through
Could order it.
tangled hair without tearing it out at the scalp.
You got it.
Ah, and what's the tease element? Sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't.
That's slightly provocative.
Sometimes the blood is literally running down the front of your face, and sometimes it's as smooth as silk. Let's just see, it's like a toss of a coin. And you can do it with the deer hunter theme as well, just to give it that bit of jeopardy. So what is the tease aspect?
Oh, you have to
don't-
buy one to find out.
Oh, well, there's that the tease. Anyway,
Can I?
they have your recommendation, I take it.
Oh, thoroughly. And my horse loves it as well. They're very good on
Yeah.
horse tails.
Are they? Do they curry?
Do they, John?
That's what they say, isn't it? Is it a curry comb? that you
Oh, I
use
believe
on
it is that.
It is.
Very good knowledge, Frank. Listen, you two. Attention must be paid. I don't like to let an anniversary pass. It is I believe it's the 20th anniversary of Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake's double denim moment.
Oh.
Do you remember that?
Well, I read about it recently, but I don't actually remember
This
it
year.
first time round. And I used to be, I used to kind of like Britney
I'm a big fan.
in a postmodern, ironic kind of a
They're a
way.
huge fan.
And they were both Mouseketeers, of course.
They were, and it
That's
left
how they met. What a way to meet. Yes, we were Mouseketeers. Oh, come on. On the Mickey Mouse Club. I mean. And also, that dirty woman, what was she called? She sang
dare
dirty.
you.
She sang
I didn't
dirty.
know her.
Frank, it's 2021.
Yeah, but who sang dirty?
Loaded magazine editorial. Was that your column in Loaded? Who's that dirty woman? By Frank Skinner's monthly
Who's that
tape.
dirty woman? No, who sang Dirty?
You're talking about Christina Aguilera.
Yeah, she was a Mouseketeer as well, wasn't she?
Was she really?
Yes, an unlikely graduate of the Mickey Mouse Club, I think we'll say. What about when Mickey and Minnie Mouse are coming round for dinner? It's another grammatical dilemma.
Mice.
The mices.
That's the worst of both worlds.
Yeah.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Earlier,
Yeah.
I think you were asking whether Mike from BBC Breakfast enjoyed sport.
If you like sport, yeah?
Yeah.
We got information.
Well, I'm sure he can tell us because he literally just started following you on Twitter
Mike did.
moments ago. Breaking news. Yeah.
He's probably trying to pick up a few things about sport. Oh, did he? Does he say anything? He hasn't.
I'm still waiting for his first communique, but he just started
I hope
following
he hasn't
you.
taken it badly, Mike.
No.
It was supposed to, I said it was said with love.
There you go.
Okay. Oh dear.
You're going to ask him to just tweet yes or no.
He'll say, let's have a big fight, like when Ali fought Tyson that time. He'll probably say,
Yeah.
Make it worse.
no, sorry, I'm making it worse.
Make it worse.
I speak. I think it's perfectly okay if he's not into sport.
Can I say great hair as well, Mike?
Yeah, but you don't assume that the newsreaders are into everything they read out, do you? By any means, or know about it.
Yeah.
He was an early adopter of the tangle teaser, actually.
I think the presenters on a show, like, I don't know, for example...
Morning,
BBC
Mike. I'm not going down with this ship.
No, but
Morning, Mike. Hello.
The presenters on a show like that, where so many things are covered, they're like an aeolian harp. You know, those things you put on your windsill and the wind blows it. You know, they are a mouthpiece for the world.
You know what? I'm buying what you're selling.
Okay.
Meanwhile...
Frank Skinner, one of the top 4 audio broadcasters in Britain. Not the best, but, not the best. The ShoeZone of the top end of audio broadcast.
So, meanwhile, over in Double Denim Land...
Oh, yes. So this picture...
what were you going to say?
I don't want to be pernickety, but you say double denim, but it's actually so many more multiples of denim than double, because it's 2 people each wearing so much denim there's no room for any other fabric. I don't even think it's quad or quintuple. My maths isn't good enough, and for a little while on this show I was known as Aladdin.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Very clever.
Yeah, very clever.
It was...
What it is repulsive denim.
It's a picture. I wasn't aware of this picture, but it is apparently an iconic shot of them arriving at some do, Justin Timberlake and Britney, when they were an item.
I wasn't aware of this picture.
No, completely. And when I say completely, Justin's got a denim trilby on. I mean, that's junior common room. I'm going to make myself a bit of a character, isn't it? And also the jeans he's got on are not even nice jeans. They're all patchwork and boot fit and all that. And they had them, hadn't they? Oh, they had them, hadn't they? Don't worry about that.
And they've got a sort of...
But Britney's also got denim. And she looks great.
She got denim. She's got a strapless bodice ripper of patchwork denim.
But imagine the next morning, let's imagine that they were living as man and wife on a fish day. Imagine the next morning trying to sort out who's and Norwegian, as we used to say in the black corner. Yeah, you'd be, no, that's your... Terrible, just a pile of denim in the corner. Yeah. Like a Quo dressing room.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
We were talking about Britney and Justin's... Did they have a portmanteau name, Frank?
I don't know,
Was this pre the concept of
Justney.
that? Yeah.
No, I don't think they ever did they?
Brit Lake.
Brit Lake sounds like a shopping centre in Dudley.
But Britney, the level of detail on this reconstructed jean, do you think that's a better way of describing it than double denim, Al.
Yeah, I think that's
Reconstructed
really
jean
good.
fabric. The level of
Really-
detail.
really impressed
DOUBLEDENIM. I hope they sang that when they arrived.
Britney,
Frank. I think that this picture is a classic example of double denim. It gets a little bit of stick, but when it's worn well, it can be fantastic. I say Britney looks amazing. He looks like, I mean, it's like a really big suit jacket he's got.
Here's the problem.
It's very strange, isn't it? Because he's wearing a denim jacket, but not in the cut that we would call a denim jacket. It's like a denim suit jacket,
Exactly.
as you say.
He looks like a denim flower pot.
There is some history here. I vaguely remember, forgive me if I'm wrong, I'm old. He, I believe, wanted to reconstruct his suit. He had a sort of a signature style of suit at the time. I may be wrong. I have a feeling Versace, that they may have been responsible for the double.
But it's covered in Levi's branding. That sounds like... Oh, maybe Versace were trying to take down Levi's
When we
by
say-
dressing him like this.
When we say Versace, open brackets, factory shop, off-cuts,
Are
basket.
you sure it's not Versace Zone?
Yeah, Versace zone. That'd be brilliant. I bet there's one of those somewhere in Hong Kong now. A man is just turning the lock on Versace zone, letting the air in.
I like Frank's tone of horror when he said, Versace did this? Like
Well.
on RuPaul's Drag Race.
Well, I tell you who else. I tell you who used to look great in double denim. Do you remember Bewitched?
Oh, yeah.
The girl band. The girl band who replaced the first E in Bewitched with an asterisk. Who knows why? Who knows why that happened? Someone said you can't just... Was it a rights issue with the Elizabeth Montgomery sitcom Bewitched? What?
They had some river dance music in the middle. Do you remember? They did a little
they
dance.
really?
Yeah, they did some river dance in the middle of the...
Oh,
First
so it
song they
might have been.
released
There
is-
might have been Bewitched because they were involved with the occult. Is that
maybe.
the suggestion? If anyone knows, yeah, this week's texting on 81215. Why did Bewitch asterisk the first E in Bewitched? I'd really like to know the answer to that.
Frank Skinner. Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We're talking about double denim.
Well, we should mention Bewitched
Bewitched. You mean?
because we've heard from some of our readers, haven't we, Al, with regards to...
Yeah.
We haven't got an answer to the asterisk, have we?
Well, would you say
Of
there's an
sorts.
answer? Of sorts.
Okay.
Go on, Al.
995 has pointed out Bewitched were second to this style. Slade were once the apostrophe in-betweens. In-betweens.
Ah, were they with a... What was that? Do you remember the Myling Class Band? What were they called? Hearsay.
Oh, yes.
Didn't they have an...
Yeah.
They had an apostrophe.
Here
and
apostrophe say. Did they?
Didn't really make any sense. They haven't lost any words. See, that's the trouble if you let the young people name themselves.
You know what? You've got to have a meeting with a grown-up when you're naming the
Exactly.
band.
I mean, that's why they don't do
Frank,
YMCA anymore. They get lost halfway through.
Okay.
Anyway.
We've all had a drink. And that Slade text was unsurprisingly from Bob in Birmingham.
Hey. Baby, baby, baby. Okay.
And
I think possibly
554...
closer to... Oh, yeah,
Go on, Al.
554. Tell us.
No,
go
your
on,
witness.
tell us.
Your witness, pal.
Come on. Don't fall. If I
they
can't
point
reach
out,
into
and
the
I
back
think
of the
this-
car, you two.
This might be closer to the mark, is B asterisk witched. Wasn't it a thing at the time, like 5, and 5, the I is an exclamation mark, and 7, the 7 in the middle, so it's seven, and 7.
7
See what I'm saying?
is
The V
replacing
is
the
a
V.
7.
Okay.
Because the
This
young
remember that.
people are
That's the
very...
film,
this
isn't
is
it?
starting to sound like that terrible car number plate magazine I used to get sent. But okay, so we don't know why they could have removed any letter. Is the truth?
Yeah.
Ewitched.
And then, of course,
She-witched. They could have called it She-witched.
Okay.
Okay.
One night.
That was a terrible moment. So when I thought of that, I thought I can't wait to get this out. It's so exciting. And you looked at me like I got something on my nose.
Do you know what it was like? It was like when you wake up in the middle of the night or you've had a dream and you think, oh, I can't wait. I'm going to turn this into a novel when I wake up. And then you share it with a partner or a friend and they go, oh.
I know I've written down so many things in the night that have just been... The only one that's at any value whatsoever was Doc Nostrils. It was called, and it says and I'd written they're always top of the bill. And I thought, when I wrote it, I thought, that's me done now. I do that gig at the front of an hour and a half show, and they'll just laugh for the rest of it.
Have you used it in a show?
No, of course not. It's awful.
Frank,
I had a friend.
191. I'm so sorry to interrupt, but attention must be paid.
I don't often start a sentence. I had a friend, but now it's gone.
Sorry. 191. No one does denim like the Quo. And then a little emoji of a...
I bet if you asked that person their favourite Quo album, they would say Dog of Two Head. That's my prediction.
Go on.
When you meet a proper Quo fan, they love the dog.
Tell us your little story about when you had a little friend. Tell us about the friend you had that had.
Well, I had a friend in Birmingham who had a Mini with denim upholstery. Now,
that's cool.
Imagine if Justin had arrived in that night. I mean, people would have thought that shadowy underworld figures had decapitated him and just wedged his head on the headrest. You wouldn't have been able to have seen any. But he was really quite come and have a look at this as well. We were all, wow, that's fantastic, really. If anyone has got denim upholstery, Carl, we'd love to hear from you. Might be maybe the same guy kept it.
You remember denim aftershave?
Of course.
Inevitable.
I do.
I used to put it on the top.
Oh, right.
Double tip.
Oh, right.
Okay. Enough. Look, thank you so much for listening this morning. It's not the same when you don't. Thank you so much. Look, if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now, just for a few more weeks, stay in.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.